mom and dad, or mom and mom, maybe dad and dad, parents in general. Are you about to spend 5 hours in the car with your kids this holiday season? You driving to the grandparents' house? You going to be there for a long time? Because I'll set the scene for you. Here's what we're all picturing. Big, long ride like that with the kiddos. There's going to be a meltdown in there, screaming at some point, some fighting. Hours of being forced to play the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack on repeat. Well, when your ears start to bleed, I got the perfect thing to keep you from rolling out of that moving vehicle. And it's something for the whole family. He's filled with laughs. He's filled with rage. The OG Green. Give it up once again. I'm so happy they brought this back. The Grinch, voiced by SNL's James Austin Johnson, in 'Tis the Grinch Holiday Podcast. We have worked with them before, and it's a joyous podcast. The kids love it. It's great for adults, too. It's going to get you through the holiday season, the car rides, times when the kids need something to occupy them. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of insufferable influencers these days. The Grinch is acting like one of them now. He's bringing a whole crew of lesser talented friends along for the ride. But there's A-listers. Gronk. We got Gronk this year on the Grinch podcast. Mark Hamill, one of my heroes. The Jonas Brothers, Jersey's own. There's a little bit of something for everybody. You have got to listen to it. 'Tis the Grinch Holiday Podcast. It's so good. Get it now wherever you get your podcasts.
It's easy to know you want to make a change in your life, but it is hard to actually do it. How to Be a Better Human from TED is a podcast for when self-help feels too daunting or just not for you. I'm Chris Duffy, the host of How to Be a Better Human, and trust me, I do not have it all figured out. But join me as I talk to experts about actually attainable ways we can try to improve our lives. Whether it's facing fears, setting boundaries, cleaning your house, or all sorts of other topics. Find How to Be a Better Human wherever you get your podcasts.
If you've been in business for at least 6 months and have a decent credit score, you could get business funding in as little as 24 hours. But you don't have to spend a ton of time going from lender to lender to find the best match for your small business. Drive your business forward with Lendio. Just let Lendio do it for you. At Lendio, we've built a marketplace of over 75 lenders and funding partners who know what you need and can get it to you quickly. See what your business can qualify for in just a few minutes at Lendio.com. That's Lendio, Lendio.com.
Hello to everybody who's been having a crazy stretch since Sunday. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, 1 phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everybody. If you're not a fan of intros, I get it. Skip about 4.5 minutes ahead. That'll put you right towards the beginning of the call. Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. Welcome to Beautiful Anonymous, a show where, as I've been saying lately, we look at the human condition one anonymous phone call at a time. I'm really psyched to talk to you. Thanks to everybody who came out to the shows in Vermont, in Burlington, at the Vermont Comedy Club. I saw the first person wearing a Beautiful Anonymous t-shirt in the wild when I was up there. The new shirt, that is, that the raccoon-themed marching band themed episode 500 celebration shirt. Thanks to everybody who's been ordering those. I am now caught up on the orders. If you haven't gotten yours and you ordered it a while ago, feel free to check in. There's a few that have been bounced back because the addresses came up as incorrect, which is a little weird, but we'll figure them all out, try to get them out there, and I'm probably going to be shutting down the order soon because, you know, it is just a one-man operation with this mailing, and I don't want to ruin my own Christmas and my own family's Christmas by providing T-shirts for other people's Christmases. Which is selfish, but I'm just telling you the truth. So I'll probably leave them up for like another 4 or 5 days and then shut it down so that I can make sure I get to all these orders as quickly as possible and get everybody their stuff and try to stay on top of it. What else? Oh, if you're in the New York area, I have a really, really fantastic edition of that show coming up. This is a variety show I host monthly. Wednesday the 10th, 10 p.m., ucbcomedy.com for tickets. It's only $10. And the whole lineup is great. Nat Townsend, Chicken Big, Takara Elise, Maria Randazzo, Hannah Mitchell. and two people who are near and dear to my heart, Joe Mandy and Joe Firestone. Just two people I've been friends with for decades, and I'm so psyched to get to do a show with them. And come check it out. ucbcomedy.com for tickets if you're in the New York area, and you can go there for streaming tickets if you want to watch it anywhere else in the world. This week's episode, it's a good one. It is one of those ones I really love where it could have been a good episode about any number of things. Like you'll hear in the beginning, we're hearing about a living situation, and this could be an hour. And then there's a very, very brief touch on the caller's religious background. That could have been a whole hour. And then we get into a situation that's very current for the caller. It's very real. And we talk a lot about it. It's about a major, major life change, and it kind of comes out of nowhere in a way that I've always really appreciated with this show, in that the caller was clearly telling some stories that were gripping more than enough, but feeling out the comfort level on the phone, the trust level on the phone, and then decided, let's go for it. And that's always been very flattering. It's always been a part of the show that I've really appreciated, that we build trust, we earn trust. The listeners hear us do that. The listeners are part of that process. And then the caller starts getting into some very, very personal stuff that is very, very recent. And then what's really amazing about this caller, on top of all those things, is that at a certain point, this thing that we could clearly talk about for many hours, the caller goes, let's move on and talk about some other stuff. I don't want to be defined by the intense thing that's happening right now. I want to get that on record, but also I want to be funny. I want to put charming stories out there. I want to mess around a little bit too. It's what I want to use my time on this show for. And it strikes me as very honest and very real to go, here's who I am in the moment, in the middle of something tumultuous, but here's who I was before that. Here's who I plan on being after that. Here's how all of these things fit together. And I think a lot of people are going to be very charmed by this caller, and also very blown away that the caller is as social and on top of it and as funny and charming as she is in the middle of what sounds like a pretty brutal week. I hope the caller's okay. I hope you enjoy the call. And also, the people who sign up at beautifulanonymous.com, there's always extra time with each caller. You will not be shocked to hear, once you hear this caller get going, that this caller in particular can go in any direction, and the 5 questions are really great this week. So sign up for that at beautifulanonymous.com if you're so inclined. In the meantime, enjoy the call.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's okay. How about you?
I'd say also okay. I am sorry, I got a bunch of shit in my arm I'm trying to put down. Just watching a beautiful snowstorm come in the Midwest right now and enjoying a Friday afternoon.
The snow is already hitting. We're recording this on Black Friday, right after Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is. It has started coming in. I was just sitting in my sauna in the basement, watching it come in through the windows, and I thought I better get out of the sauna before I get on the call, otherwise I might accidentally get stuck in here for an hour.
So when you did call in, you were in a sauna.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet to have a sauna in your house.
Yeah, so it's actually, the situation is my husband and I have a cute little home, and our whole basement is an Airbnb, and that has the sauna in it. And so I have very rare windows of time in between guests when the cleaner's in there, about 3 hours, that I can occasionally use the sauna. So,
that's everything about that works for me. You sneaking into your own sauna in the off hours. How is it how is it running an Airbnb these days? Airbnb, I've talked shit about my Airbnb experience on this show at times.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple for us because we actually bought this house last spring, which is part of the story I wanted to tell you. And the Airbnb was already active, and so the guy we bought the house from, we just had him to keep managing it. So we do very little. We just own it.
So that was the prior owner is still making money off the house through the side gig.
Yeah, I mean, he just gets a small percentage for management, and we get most of it and then get to write off a bunch of our house. So it's a pretty sweet gig. It's booked almost all the time.
Look at that. That's nice. Have that extra income.
Yeah. So why are you just okay?
I mean, at the end of the day, I got some personal life stuff going on, but I guess also, just I always forget that once the daylight savings hits and it gets colder, my depression comes back. It's a thing I have to deal with every year, even though things are much, much better than they used to be. But yeah, it's just been very pronounced. And yeah, that's the honest answer.
Shoot, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for accurately sensing that I was a bit down in our first little interaction and following up on it. Makes me feel seen and makes me feel heard. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, okay. I've been listening to you since the beginning, and I've always thought, if I get on, what do I want to talk about? And one of the things I want to start with, I know this makes you uncomfortable, but I want to spend 2 minutes gassing you up a little bit, and then we can talk about me, okay?
Oh, boy. Okay. I'll allow it.
Okay. And I might tear up a little bit. I cry easily. I know, like, you've referred to yourself, I think, as a C-list celebrity, which is very funny to me. A lot of people know you, and we're all strangers to you. But I just want to tell you how much you impact people's lives. Me specifically, man, I was going through a time probably a decade ago where it was just really not good. And between your HBO special and some things you had shared on your website, you had written like a letter to a fan who was going through a hard time. Some of your words are what got me through sometimes just into the next week. And then beyond that, this is a really cool story. Probably 2.5 years ago, you had a call with a caller who had bipolar disorder. And it was through that call that I recognized that perhaps I might have bipolar disorder. And wow. I was then able to go and meet with psychiatrists and get diagnosed and just start being able to treat that, which obviously positively has impacted me in a lot of ways. So I just want to tell you thank you for that, for all of that, and just for what you do in the world.
I'm very happy to help. Very happy to have had some public conversations that cracked things like that open for people. And most of all, I hope you're feeling like you're headed in the right direction and things are more stable and that was a positive.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Well, what I told Andrea was I wanted to tell you a story about our neighbor harassing us for 1.5 years and then having to sell our home.
Oh, geez. That sounds bad.
But, it's actually, it prompted, the whole past year has been full of crazy changes that I've been processing. And so I thought I would just talk about some of those and
yeah,
we can start there.
Let's hear about it.
Okay. So my husband and we had been living for about 5 years in a condo downtown in our city that we owned. We loved it, had a great community. And then there was a man who lived above us. And it's a really long story. It could take a whole hour, so I'm not going to go there. But he had a petty grievance against the HOA of the condo association that had been ongoing for a while. And then my husband became the board president, and we lived and slept right below him. So this 40-something-year-old grown adult man spent the next year and a half keeping us awake all night it sounded, I'm not exaggerating, Chris, like he was dropping like 50-pound kettlebells on the floor above us as we slept. And it would come at like inconsistent times. And some nights he would take a few nights off and then be back at it again, to the point where like it ruined our mental health.
Yeah,
it's just crazy that a grown man would do that. Yeah. We'd have like chunks of like wall coming off in the middle of the night.
So, I mean, I'm sure at some point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, there's so many questions, right? Like all this noise is happening.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm sure you try to just go talk to him. Is that the first step?
Yeah. So, probably the third night in, we were like, oh, okay, this is real. This isn't a coincidence. Like he's just fucking around up there. Like, and so my husband went upstairs in his robe at 2 a.m. and knocked on the door and knocked and knocked and knocked, and he didn't answer. But of course it stopped. And so he continued to keep trying to reach out to him, like on a personal level, texting him, hey, can we get coffee to talk about this? And he would just totally ignore him. And so then it got to the point where we would call the police for a noise disturbance, but he wouldn't answer the door for the police. And so it went on for about a year. And then most people didn't know about it. We just kept it to ourselves because we're not children like him. But then a couple other members of the HOA board encouraged us to like make it known publicly and see if maybe shaming him would stop. And it didn't work. So he would never deny it, but he would always say things just like, I try to be as quiet as possible. So, yeah.
I hate to laugh.
I can laugh at it now.
Yeah, I hate to laugh, but man, it sounds like a nightmare. You know, the first question on everybody's mind listening is, you said it sounded like someone dropping giant kettlebells at night. Did you ever find out what it actually was?
No. And I had all these ideas like, well, can we get a drone? Like our friend has a drone, and like fly it outside his window and see what's going on. But it was just at inconsistent times. Like we could barely even get it on video. So we don't know. But so then what ended up happening was it got to the point where we were like, we can't live here anymore. And we've tried everything. And that was really sad because we loved our condo. We bought it at like a super low interest rate back in 2020, and we loved our community there. But we really had no choice. We felt like, so we listed it thinking, you know, there were a lot of condos that we had seen in that building that sat on the market forever and ever and ever. So we thought, well, let's just list it, see what happens. And immediately, so that was exactly this time a year ago, immediately we got a full price cash offer on it, and they wanted it by the end of the year. So we quickly sold it and moved out. And then at that point, the neighbor admitted to someone on the board that he had been doing that intentionally for almost 2 years. But it was too late.
Intentionally just to mess with you?
Yep. Because he was mad at the board.
And since your husband was the board president, he took it out on you personally as a couple?
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's just laughable.
Oh, that's mean. That's vindictive and mean.
Yeah. It is. And it's sad though. Like, he used to be kind of the guy in the building that he would have people over, and he was everyone's friend. And he clearly has something going on mentally. Like, he really alienated himself from everyone, and like no one talks to him anymore. So it's kind of sad. But
that's
yeah.
It's almost, have you ever, it's bringing to mind the movie, this is a deep cut. Do you remember the movie from the 80s, Moving, with Richard Pryor? Have you seen Moving?
I was not alive in the 80s, and I have not seen that movie.
That's fair. Not being alive is a good reason to not see a movie from the 80s. You can go back. Everybody knows you can go back and watch older movies. It's a Richard Pryor movie. I remember loving it as a kid. I haven't seen it in years. So if it's problematic, understand I haven't seen this movie in numerous decades, but I do remember he had an insane neighbor, and one of the bits was that the neighbor is part of why he is driven to move across the country, and when he moves across the country, the neighbor's brother, played by the same actor, lives next door. So you just reminded me of that movie. I don't know why I took the time to tell you that, honestly.
No, that's okay. I'll have to look up and watch it.
You might get some catharsis out of a person being driven insane to the point where they have to move.
Called Moving?
Moving. Yeah, Richard Pryor.
Okay.
I remember it being super funny. I'm going to
look up what streaming service that's on.
Yeah, I probably am too. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And so you never find out what it was? You found out he was doing it on purpose? Was there a goodbye? Was there any closure? The lack of finding out what he was dropping is almost more maddening to me than his behavior itself.
I know. I think there's no way he's a guy that works out based on, this sounds awful, but what his body looks like. But I work out, and I feel like I'm very familiar with kettlebells, and it was such a concentrated placement of the weight. That's just what's in my mind. That's what it had to have been. So I don't know what he had, and I wish we could know, but it's in the past now, and that really just set off this whole past year has just had so many changes. Which some have been good, some bad, but just all in all, it's been hard because change is hard. And I really struggled with it because I have a very good, objectively, and privileged life. But I think that anyone, it's just a reminder, anyone can struggle, no matter, I guess, with what's going on in life. And sometimes I have to give myself grace and remind myself of that. It's okay to feel what I'm feeling, despite everything else. So, yeah. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about that, if that seems interesting.
I'm into it. How do you not? Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, so we, right before Christmas, we were like, oh shit, well, we need to find a place to live. And so we moved into just an apartment down the street and lived out of boxes for 6 months, which that in itself was annoying. But again, grateful to have a place to live. And where we were is in this part of our downtown where there's development, and right across the railroad tracks is your homeless shelter and where people go to eat their meals. And I remember lying in my bed at night, 8-10 months ago, feeling, oh, this is so frustrating, being in this liminal space of life, and then looking out the window and I could see a man sleeping on the ground alongside the building.
That's very sobering.
That gave good perspective. Yeah. So yeah, and then go ahead.
No, I was going to say I do think it's very, very good to recognize I got a cash offer on one home and then bought another home that also has a second source of income attached to the home with tax write-off implications. It's ultimately it is a story that's yeah, it's good to recognize that this was a nightmare and a headache, and that also there's just getting to a point where you can own a home in 2025 means you are ahead of a curve that's causing so many people panic right now, especially young people. Young people just assume they won't own property ever. So to get there at all, it's good to hear you say yeah, no, it was a nightmare, but also I had perspective on it the whole time. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. And I really don't want people to hear me talk and just roll their eyes because I get it. And part of it, I think, is where we live in the country. It's easier in terms of some of that, but not for everyone. So
yeah,
I try and just be realistic. I've had the, privilege, again, opportunity to travel a lot in the world, and I've spent quite a bit of time in some third world countries, and so I'm not ignorant, to my own privilege at all, and just always trying to be mindful of that.
What was the impetus behind the travel?
Well, I guess in like some of those countries that I was referring to years ago, I did some work for a nonprofit that was based in Uganda and Rwanda. So I went there several times. I used to shoot video, and so I did work for them. So I went probably 4 trips over there, and I was in my young 20s, and I'm just really grateful for that because it really helped shape my worldview and just the inherent human dignity that we all have, and we're all kind of on the same playing field, and no matter what anyone has or doesn't have, I think at the end of the day we all want the same things, which is to be loved and to find some sense of happiness. And so that was really meaningful to me, and I think formative at that age.
That's a cool job in your 20s to go shoot video for a nonprofit in third world countries.
Well, I didn't get paid for it.
Oh, you didn't?
But
it was a volunteer?
Cool. Yeah.
Wow. So you've been all over the globe.
Yeah, I have actually. I actually just got back from Italy on Sunday.
What were you doing out there?
That was just a fun trip. Just my husband and I went. So what we do, because we enjoy traveling, is we just keep an eye on like some website he watches. I don't know what it is. And when we see a really good deal on a flight, even if it's like a year in advance, we just book it. And then that's where we're going next, I guess. So we try and do something like that once a year. And we're not too picky. We just try and make it work.
Man, it is... it must be nice to not have kids. Am I right on that assumption?
Oh, you are so right. And it's never going to happen.
Really?
And it's great.
Let's just take a spin around the globe. Wherever our finger stops, that's where we go. Yeah, you don't have kids. So you guys, you're not feeling kids, not looking for it down the line, prioritizing each other and travel over the kid situation.
Yeah. Kind of weird timing though, I guess. So the irony of that is we came back from our trip on Sunday night. This was 5 days ago, and we had a conversation, and we decided we're actually going to separate.
Boom. Let's pause there. That's a bomb that just got dropped. Everybody take a breath and process that. We're going to be talking about that pretty heavily when we get back. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. It's wild. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. Look into it. It's scary. It can lead to all sorts of bad situations. Identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. The New York Times Wirecutter has named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services, and I get it. I am a Delete Me customer. I can tell you that this felt necessary in my life. There was a pretty intense stretch there for a while where there were some things happening that were a little scary and where it made me really feel like I needed to take all the actions I could to get as much of my data taken care of as possible. And Delete Me stepped up. And it is not because they sponsored the show. This is not something that they're paying for in the ad. I can just tell you, the level of relief I felt at seeing what a good job Delete Me does made me feel safer, made me feel like I was being a good dad, a good husband, a good guy, trying to honestly just make sure that my data wasn't out there in a way that would affect my family. That's a real thing I just said right there. And I'll tell you, a lot of it is because they get to work, they send you that first report, and they find, when I tell you they go through hundreds of sites and find out where your data is, and they scrub it. And then every few months you get a report that shows you where it's been added back and where they've scrubbed it again. And you realize, man, Delete Me is really out here in the trenches, stopping these bad actors, not just a one-time service, over and over and over again, in a way that is commendable and noble. It's really good. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me, now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful and use promo code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful, code BEAUTIFUL. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. IQ Bar is the better-for-you plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ Bars, 8 IQ Mix Sticks, and 4 IQ Joe Sticks. My wife calls the IQ Joe Sticks coffee sticks. She's completely obsessed with them. She has them pretty much every day, and when she makes them, she does a little dance, and it makes me fall in love again. It is awesome. IQ Mix is my favorite. It's a zero-sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes. It improves mood, boosts clarity. I have it all the time, and you can hear in my voice right now, I got a little sinus thing going on. You know what I started doing as soon as I sensed that was coming? Let me hit that IQ Mix, make sure I'm staying hydrated, make sure those electrolytes are hitting, make sure that as we're entering cold flu season, IQ Mix is always right there, ready to go. And there's so many flavor combinations across the IQ Bar products: mint chocolate chip protein bars, blueberry pomegranate hydration mix, toasted hazelnut coffee. There's limited edition flavors. There's seasonal flavors. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. As you have heard, you are not going to find a bigger fan of the IQ Joe coffee sticks than my wife. IQ Mix, I have become like borderline obsessed with, and I have an IQ Bar for breakfast almost every day. It's probably the best grab-and-go breakfast I can think of, and I know that it's full of all sorts of good stuff instead of junk. I'm a big fan. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the sampler pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Text BEAUTIFUL to 64000. That's BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See term for details. Thanks to our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call.
We came back from our trip on Sunday night. This was 5 days ago, and we had a conversation, and we decided we're actually going to separate.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, no kids, but that's also the direction we're going together. So, yeah, I'm happy to talk about that a little bit, too.
So you got back from Italy on Sunday. It was everything about this was like, oh, you're this couple, you dealt with this adverse situation a year ago, you wound up in pastures that sound just as green, if not greener, you randomly travel around the world, you have worked for nonprofits and are clearly a good person. This felt like a very laid back one, but the separation, you decided on Sunday.
Yeah, I think I know enough about you to know you're probably not a Swiftie, right?
No, I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie. I have respect for the Swifties, and I'm not a hater.
Okay.
But I'm not a Swiftie.
Okay. Taylor, my very good friend Taylor Allison Swift has a song called Champagne Problems. And it's just this concept of kind of what I was saying before. Like, people can have problems that might seem relative to the rest of the world not that big of a deal, but they still, to that person, can cause immense pain. So that's what champagne problems is. So I feel like I am living in a season of champagne problems right now. So yeah, exactly what you just said. Objectively, everything sounds perfect, but people can still have hurt underneath and have to navigate that. So that's kind of the season I'm in.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I got to say, like, you said you decided to separate on Sunday. We're talking on Friday. You remarkably have the air of someone who has their shit together at the end of a week where it sounds like it would be very valid to not have your shit together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at faking, that's something I've gotten good at in life for a lot of reasons. But B, I'm actually feeling really grateful because my husband and I went into this trip together knowing that this was on our minds, and we wanted to spend that time together. We travel well together. We are friends. And so we wanted to lean into that. I think both hoping that we would come back with just some clarity and a sense of peace and direction. And I think the reason I do sound so and genuinely am feeling okay about it is because he and I are really aligned in the decision. And I know that we're going to probably go through seasons of grief and it feeling complicated. But the thing with us is we're such good friends, but like that's what we are. And that's part of the issue, is that's all we are. And so I think when we got to the point when we were both able to be really, really honest about that and with ourselves and with each other about what do we really want our lives to look like, and are we right now like we're content, we can make this work, but are we the happiest, healthiest versions of ourselves with each other? It was just like I shouldn't speak for him, but I think for him too, just a weight off our shoulders. And so we're going to be able to move forward together and aligned. And we both really believe we can still keep being friends, as idealistic as it sounds. So yeah, that's where we're at. And honestly, that's why I feel good about it, because it's something that had been weighing me down for a really long time. And it's been like conversation for the past few months. And so I feel really grateful.
Wow. And I don't know if you've mentioned how long you've been married.
We have been married, it'd be 6 years in April. So we got married, we were a COVID wedding, and we were actually both previously married. I got married when I was 21, super young. And so that's part of why we became good friends, because we were both a few years out from that and just connected on that shared experience. And so the first time around, I felt a lot of shame in that. And now that I'm older, I don't feel that anymore. I just want to keep figuring out how to be like the best, healthiest version of myself.
Do you have a sense of what that might look like moving forward?
Yes. Well, I'm figuring that out. With my therapist, she's really challenging me we're going to start digging into just some, I feel like trauma is a strong word, but we all have that, right? Like from our childhood and our parents, and even if we lived in relatively safe homes. Just digging into some of that. I have a lot of really, really negative core beliefs about myself. And so I think my path forward is identifying where those come from and getting rid of them and learning to really love myself without, needing that from anyone else right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
How long were you single between your first marriage and your current marriage?
Probably maybe 4 years. Yeah. So I'm 33, just to give you some context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just really stands out to be 33. To be 33 and to have, to be 30, to be blunt, right? To be 33 and divorced twice, it does feel like it jumps out, but it also sounds like it's really rooted in honesty with yourself and your partners and knowing yourself. And that's part of why I asked how long you were single in between, because I have to wonder if you have a sense of who you are if you've spent 2 major chunks of your young years married to other people in a way that felt off, you know? And I think if you have a sense that you need to figure that out and you need to explore that and you need to not settle into something for the rest of your entire life, I think it is painful and I'm certain head spinning, but also pretty valid to want to go and see who you are outside of the comfort zone of a marriage where you go, we're really good friends and that's awesome. And some people would love to be married to a really good friend, but we have it and it's not getting us where we want to go with this. That takes an incredible amount of awareness as a self-awareness and as a couple to be able to act on that. That's scary, but I think also pretty brave.
Yeah. You know, that time, that 3 or 4 years when I was single, I mean, I say I was single, I was dating around and stuff, but it was in my 20s too. So like, I'm grateful for that time, but also no one knows who they are in their 20s, single or not. So I think that's true that like, I haven't really had that time for myself, as an adult to figure out really who I am and what I want and be able to really lean into the things that give me joy without having to make concessions for another person. And I know that sounds really selfish, but that's just where I am. And I'm actually like really looking forward to it and going on that journey with myself.
Do you have thoughts of what that might entail? Do you have moves you want to make, places you want to go, things you want to try, adjustments that you want to adjust?
I don't really see my life changing that much. I love the city I live in and the community I have and the friends I have. And I'm in between kind of in work situations right now. And I have a good opportunity that I'll be starting soon. That's remote. So like really not a lot of changes, but just be where I am and with who I am and with the world I've built around me and just take care of myself, I guess.
Which one of you is going to live in the main house and which will live in the Airbnb?
Well, that's a stressful thing. He doesn't want to live in the house, and I love the house, but I can't afford it on my own. So we're going to have to sell it, which is a pain since we just bought it. So we'll see in the coming months what that looks like. So, but first world problems, Chris, like I recognize that and I feel silly feeling stressed about it, to be honest.
No, I mean, I feel like you have a consistent running thread of saying like, I get my privilege, I check my privilege, I understand it. And that's really noble, but I don't think there's anybody listening who would say that you need, separating in a marriage and heading out into the great unknown and having to readjust your whole living situation and figure out where things land. No one's going to sit there and say that that sounds easy. I don't think anybody's going to roll their eyes at it and go, what's she complaining about? It sounds like she has so much. Like, no, things fall apart. Things fall apart for any variety of reasons. And I don't think you have to apologize for that. And I don't think you have to, I also don't think you need to put on a brave face in regards to that either. Like, it's scary. It's even in a situation that sounds like it's the least painful version of how these things go to some degree, or we've all certainly heard at the very least stories of more painful versions of it. Mm-hmm. It's, the bedrock of your life. There's been a little earthquake. The safety net of your life just got rearranged. Like, I don't think there's any need to check your privilege on that one. It's a scary, daunting thing, no matter what.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. Well, I have some fun things to talk about too, like some funny stories.
Okay.
So,
whatever you want.
I've always thought about what do I want to tell Chris if I ever get on. And I actually have a note on my phone somewhere, but I'm not going to find it right now. Okay. I feel like, let's see, like I said, I'm 33. I've I've got to live a lot of life, more than a lot of people around me in our little Midwest area do. And I'm really proud of that and grateful for it. And so I don't know, I'm just going to give you like some high level things. Okay. And we can go whatever direction.
Okay. This one has,
Okay.
this one has had many twists and turns. And I will also say, if you want to move on, that's great. And I'm happy to follow it. But also, most people don't reveal that they just revealed to separate. And then with 28 minutes left, are like, I've said everything I have to say about that.
No, it's okay. I just don't want to look back on the call and be like, oh, I was just like heavy the whole time, because I'm a really fun person too. I think I'm
Right.
I think one of the things that I struggle with in life is I think I'm so fucking hilarious, and not enough people realize that about me. So,
Okay, hey, let's do it.
yeah.
Let's put that on display.
Okay. Well, now I feel like I set a high bar, but okay. So one fun thing about me is that I grew up in a little Mennonite town, and I went to a high school where I had 10 classmates. Well, I was one of the 10, and 2 of them were my cousins. So that's kind of a fun starting place.
Is your family Mennonite?
So, no, Mennonite is an interesting thing, at least where I'm from, where there's like the faith, religion, doctrine aspect of it, like where you attend church. And then there's more of the cultural heritage aspect of it. And I want to clarify, sometimes people hear Mennonite and they think like they're really conservative, like dressed like Amish people. That's not the version. It's not the brand that I was in. It was like I would have wearing the same clothes in high school that I wear now, like jeans and a t-shirt. We drove cars. We had electricity.
Most of what people know, and I'll put myself in this box, Mennonite is mostly regarded as like a more chill Amish, like associated with the Amish in some way, much more chill, especially with technology. And even in the Northeast where you cross paths with Amish people and Mennonites from time to time, that is the log line that most people go with, is a more relaxed version of the Amish.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. And then even within, there's like more relaxed Mennonites and more conservative Mennonites. So definitely in the more relaxed genre of them. Yeah, but I would say I'm not a Mennonite anymore. My parents weren't, when I was in high school, they weren't going to a Mennonite church, but there's something I enjoyed and identified with at that time. And I called myself that then. And then I was exposed to it too, like, with the curriculum in my high school and things like that. And then after high school and I went into college and I stepped away from that, I was still pretty religious. I got involved in more of like a evangelical group on campus, and which I now describe as a cult. And thankfully I'm no longer part of any of that. And I don't really claim any faith at this point, which has brought a lot of peace and freedom for me. But I'm grateful for that background that I have.
When you were traveling in your 20s for the nonprofit work and the volunteerism, was it religious focused?
So that one was, yes. So that nonprofit is a faith-based one. But one thing I really appreciated about it that I think is different than a lot of faith-based orgs is that so many of them go into these countries and they do things for the people. They build the things, they donate the things, and it hurts the local economy, and it really takes away dignity from the locals. And I think that's very dangerous. And this one is one that it exists to be like self-sustaining within the community, and they rely on local people filling the jobs, and so it's not all reliant on like U.S. support and donors. And so that's one thing I really appreciate about it. And when I talk about it, I always feel like I have to explain that because otherwise it can be so hurtful.
Yeah. You got more layers to you than I saw coming. I thought this was going to be you had a crazy neighbor, and that was it. You got many more layers.
Well, I just had to start somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. In college I was really involved in like that campus ministry, and I spent a summer in China through that. And I'm sorry, my thoughts are kind of bouncing. Here's something we can talk about. Still in line with the travel. When I was 12, my dad got married to a woman from South America who at the time was the same age as my brother, who was 22 at the time. He was my half brother, so we didn't share a dad. But, and that was, just something I'm going through now because, as a 12-year-old, you don't have like the emotional capacity to navigate that. You shouldn't have to. And so I ended up not speaking to my dad for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was 18, I reached out to him wanting to restore that relationship, and we did, which was great. And then I'm very close with her and her family, and I've been able to travel to see them a few times. And so that's good. That's a big part of my story, but like that's kind of come up lately again, learning like my dad is actually pretty angry at 12-year-old me and is now trying to make 33-year-old me deal with it. And so that's fun. But, that's I guess another layer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it too armchair psychologist for me to say that your feelings on marriage have to have been affected by that fallout?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I mean, I talk about this with my my younger sister, who I'm sure she'll hear this call. I don't think she really plans to get married. We talked about that a couple years ago, and she said, well, why would I? I've only seen them fail. And like, I feel the same way, myself being one of them. And so I'm sure there's something deep down in addition to all of my own like attachment issues and issues as a person. And I don't plan to get married again, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. So many layers. Let's keep peeling back the layers. What else you got on that list?
Okay. I'm all over the place, and it's because I'm nervous. I want this to be a good call. Like there's so many good calls, and then there's so many like calls that are like they're fine, and so I feel pressure. I think
you got a great call going. I think you started out with a nightmare neighbor story that's going to start a discourse where there were other people could share their nightmare neighbor stories. Then you dropped a bomb on us that you're 5 days out from deciding to separate. And then you boldly say, I'd like to move on from that topic and do some quick hits. And then you quickly reveal a very specific religious upbringing and a 1-2 punch with your dad marrying someone the age of one of your siblings. I mean, this is a smorgasbord of topics that people are going to lock in on. So feel no self-consciousness at all. You have had an interesting life, and you have a very chill demeanor for somebody who's had such an interesting life. So you can stop feeling self-conscious.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so here's a story that I thought I would want to tell him this. And I also have some questions for you that we'll get to.
Okay, we've got 20 minutes left. Let's freeze there. This hasn't happened in a while. People used to do this sometimes. Set aside a little chunk to kind of pick my brain about stuff. This hasn't happened as much in recent years. We're going to get into it. The questions are very charming and funny. And when we get back, you'll have all those and more. Cold mornings, holiday plans. This is when I need my wardrobe to just work. I need it to work. I can't spend time thinking about it. It's why I'm all about Quince. They make it easy to look sharp, feel good, and find gifts that last. From Mongolian cashmere sweaters to Italian wool coats, Quince pieces are crafted from premium materials and built to hold up without the luxury markup. Quince makes the essentials every guy needs. Mongolian cashmere sweaters for $50, Italian wool coats that look and feel designer, and denim and chinos that fit just right. Their outerwear lineup is no joke. Down jackets, wool top coats, leather styles that are built to last. Each piece is made from premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. By cutting out middlemen and traditional markups, Quince delivers the same quality as luxury brands at a fraction of the price. It's everything you actually want to wear, built to hold up season after season. I can tell you, for me, first of all, everything I've ever bought from Quince is great. And I recently bought a corduroy jacket, espresso colored, which for me is a big swing. I wore this thing around. I got so many compliments. I immediately ordered the same jacket in black because it fit right. It looked good. People were noticing. I said, I need to make sure I have multiple color options on this jacket. And I think that is not an uncommon experience with Quince, to realize everything comes in punching above its weight. You're getting those compliments. You realize Quince is doing it right. Get on board. Get your wardrobe sorted and your gift list handled with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/beautiful for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/beautiful. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/beautiful. The holiday season is upon us. You're getting gifts for other people. You also maybe want to take some time, a little bit of your hard-earned cash, get a gift for yourself as well, right? I am so psyched to tell you about Bowl and Branch. This is a gift that whoever you give it to is going to flip out, and you are going to give yourself a gift that keeps on giving because they're extraordinary products. These Bowl and Branch sheets are absolutely no joke, and Bowl and Branch's best sale of the year is happening right now with 25% off site-wide. Start with Bowl and Branch's best-selling signature sheets made with the perfect balance of softness and breathability for your best sleep. Their signature sheets get softer with every wash and are made with the highest quality 100% organic cotton. All Bowl and Branch bedding, from blankets and throws to pillows and duvets, are made with exceptional quality and durability, and it's all on sale now. Bowl and Branch, by the way, comes with a 30-night guarantee, so you can shop worry-free. I've got the waffle blanket and I've got Bowl and Branch sheets, and I'll tell you, when we got all those things on the bed at the same time, that is quality sleep. That is luxury sleep right there. It is hard. When Bowl and Branch sheets go in the wash and I realize that I've got my non-Bowl and Branch sheets, I get a little grumpy about it. But luckily, I also know that when you wash Bowl and Branch sheets, they get softer over time. So I take a deep breath and go, they're only going to be better when they get back from the dryer. So chill out. Don't overreact to this. It really is bedding where you can feel the difference, and you should go ahead and treat yourself and the people you love this holiday season to some Bowl and Branch. Give yourself and your loved ones the most extraordinary feeling sleep with 25% off site-wide, plus free shipping and extended returns during Bowl and Branch's best sale of the year. Shop now at bowlandbranch.com/beautiful with code BEAUTIFUL. That's Bowl and Branch. BOLLAND branch.com/beautiful. Code BEAUTIFUL for 25% off. Exclusions apply. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Now let's finish the phone call. Okay, we've got 20 minutes left.
Okay, this goes so fast. Everyone always says that, and I get it. Okay, so this is... Okay, now I mentioned that I bet my sister will listen to this, so now I'm feeling self-conscious because she probably hasn't heard some of this, so that's okay. So after I got divorced my first time, I was a child. Gosh, how old was I? I would have been 24, 25. And I was, at that time, I was just living in shame. Pretty much a lot of people had cut themselves off from me, and I was still in the church at that time, so there was just a huge amount of shame, and I wanted to not be around anymore. And one of my ideas was, well, I just want to pick up and move away where I don't know anyone and I can just start over. And it wasn't for a healthy reason, just getting away. And so I knew someone at my place of work at the time who was from California, and he was telling me like, oh, maybe you'd like this little town that I'm from in California. I said, okay, I'll go check it out. And so I booked a flight there on my own to go check it out, thinking like I'm looking for a place to pick up and move away. And that whole week I look back on it and I'm just like, something was protecting me. So many weird things happened, and it's a fun story. So it started with, I flew into LAX and then I had to take a train to where I was going. And I was in just so many weird things. I was in the bathroom at the train station, and a woman came in there with like a big old school boom box and set it down and starts playing this weird music, and then starts doing like pull-ups on the bathroom stall. And I said, why are you doing pull-ups on the bathroom stall? And she proceeded to like get me, like try and teach me, like do this Polynesian dance with her in the bathroom. And so that was weird. Okay. Weird things like that just kept happening. Okay. So then at the time I had dreadlocks. They were really cool. I took good care of them.
Okay.
And where I live, there is nobody here who knows how to care for dreadlocks on a white person with different hair. And so when I was there, I looked up someone who could help care for my dreadlocks. I needed some work done on them. And so I found this girl, and we met in this park, and she was working on my hair, and she was great. She was sweet, not weird at all. This woman walks up to us and she said, hey, can I sit with you guys? And we said, yeah, sure. She sat in the grass and she seemed a little bit off, and she kept like whispering things to herself. Like maybe she was under the influence of something. And then at one point she looks at me and makes eye contact and says, how's your grandma Grace doing? Chris, my grandma's name is Grace.
Whoa, I hate that.
I know. I just got goosebumps. And this girl doing my hair, I hear her, she just whispers, what the fuck? And I said, why did you say that? And she said, oh, I just wanted to know how she's doing. And then she looks off into the trees, starts whispering, and gets up and walks away.
Whoa.
And the girl doing my hair was like, please tell me your grandma's name isn't Grace, because I have goosebumps. And I said, her name is Grace. It's so weird.
Ooh, I don't like that.
So then I was staying at an Airbnb, and I went back and I brought this girl doing my hair with me for a reason that's not worth explaining. And we get in there and she goes, what's that smell? And I didn't smell anything. Well, there was a gas stove and the burners were on. And I don't know how anyone could have turned them on. No one had been in there. And so I just look back on the whole thing and I'm like, something weird was going on. And I feel like really grateful that I somehow made it out of that trip and I didn't move there. And then I also met a random guy on Tinder and got matching tattoos with him.
Wait, what? Wait, you can't just tag that in on the end? What tattoos?
It's just a really small, like, Roman numerals for the date of that day.
Are you still in touch with this random guy?
No, not since.
So someone sat down, had this intense conversation, knew your grandma's name, and then, oh yeah, also you got random tattoos.
Yeah, and I love this story from my life because it was I was in a really like dark, messy, hard, sad, lonely place. And this whole thing is probably pretty reckless. And I look back on it and I'm like, just what a great story. And I'm so glad all that happened.
Yeah. I
Even
mean,
though it's questionable.
It's good to have a couple stories like that, but that's a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that one.
Grandma Grace.
Yeah, and my grandma Grace, she died 2 years ago now, in October, and she was 99, and she had black hair that she never once dyed, and I loved her so much.
R.I.P. Grandma Grace. Did you so you got to tell Grandma Grace that someone brought up Grandma Grace randomly in a freaky way?
I don't recall if I did. I would imagine I didn't. I don't think she would have. I don't know. I think that would have bothered her. Like me traveling by myself and all. She was just too old, I think, to take in some stuff.
Well, that's good. We don't want to bother Grandma Grace. That's good.
Yeah. So, I have some questions for you that I've always wondered.
Okay. We've got 12 minutes left. I'm happy to answer some questions.
Okay. Do you watch I Think You Should Leave, and are you friends with Tim?
I do watch that show. I think it's hilarious. I've seen every episode. The first season was out when Cal was a baby, so I would watch it in the middle of the night while feeding him at like 3:30 in the morning, which is an amazing way to watch a show that weird. I love it. I've done shows with Tim. I've done a few improv shows with him over the years. I always felt bad because there was one night where I was having like a little bit of a mental breakdown in front of him and A.D. Bryant. And it was really the longest, most in-depth conversation I've had with Tim Robinson, which ain't great. We're not buddies to a degree where we text each other or email or anything like that, but I did DM him about something a few months back, and he answered. So, like, there's mutual respect there, I think, as kind of fellow fringe comedians who came up in a similar scene at a similar time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that show. Yeah, I've never heard you bring it up, I don't think, and I've always wondered if you watch it. It's like my whole personality. If I get around someone who also watches it, I only speak in quotes, and it's pretty obnoxious, but I just think it's so funny.
It is.
So
it's
funny.
Really great and really hilarious, and so many of my friends. One of the things I love about that show is a lot of the people who act on it are people I'm tight with, and like for example, you'll know the sketch where the guy is like doing the mall prank in the crazy costume, and then
Carl Havoc got way too much shit on me.
And then he just starts kind of like vaguely insinuating that he wants to commit suicide rather than do the prank. The guy who played the director is my friend Gary, and I was just able to like just text Gary and be like, "This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm lucky to be a part of it." You know, like that's just Gary.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah, that's cool. Have you seen the movie Friendship then?
I just watched it. Yeah, that's with him and Paul Rudd. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad it was made. It didn't change my life, but I'm psyched that it was made, and I laughed a bunch, and I thought it was weird and funny and good. How about you? What did you think?
I have a complicated relationship toward it because it's just so fucked up. Throughout the movie in the theater, I laughed out loud multiple times while thinking the whole time, I hate this. And then when it got done, I said, I definitely want to see this again. And I've tried multiple times to restart it, and I just get a few minutes in and I'm like, I just can't. It's so uncomfortable and like dark and sad, but so funny at the same time.
Now, what is it about I Think You Should Leave that's so different? I find them very similar in so many ways, obviously, being filtered through a very brilliant guy's very unique worldview. So what is the difference for you? But I'm with you. I'm with you. You could hear I was hedging my bets a little bit as well in how I described that movie.
Yeah, I think because there's just like a sadness and darkness to the character in the whole movie, whereas like in I Think You Should Leave, all the sketches are different, and there's a couple that have some undertones, like the ghost tour at the end, if you know that one, like that kind of that same sad feeling, but they're not all like that. So many of them are just like nonsense and silly. So I think it was just like too, it was just too long of those sad undertones the whole time for me.
Yeah. And there were also, in a way that I think is actually cool, but you feel it by the end. You're like, there's no real hero to this movie. Like the main guy is the source of all the problems, and some of them are very bad. Some of them, he's abandoning his wife in a tunnel. Like it's like not great. And then it's not like Paul Rudd is the most likable dude in that film either.
Yeah, it's good. So anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, sorry, go watch it, despite what I just said.
It's definitely worth the time.
Yeah. So then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, and I hope this isn't annoying, I'm just asking you about other comedians, but I'm going to anyway because it's my call.
Go for it.
Are you friends with Joe Pera?
Yeah, Joe's a good dude. I've known Joe for many years. Joe's a really good dude.
I feel like his stuff is a combination of like Mr. Rogers and I Think You Should Leave, and it's very calming to me. Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, Joe's great. Really nice dude. Really nice guy. What other comedians do you want to ask about?
Those are the only, I only know 3 comedians, and it's those 2 and you.
Oh, that's fair. And that's good company to be in. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, good. So how much time do we have?
We have 6 minutes left.
Okay, I have time for 2 more thoughts.
Yeah.
I was about a month ago I was in another city, in our country of the United States, for a national conference for the industry that I work in, and I was speaking, had a session, so I was speaking to a room full of people. And I was pretty nervous, and so I wanted to open it up and with something. And so I was gonna talk about something like, okay, so I saw Joe Pera in Des Moines last year, and he does this funny bit where, like, if he wants crowd interaction, he kind of bends over and puts his hand on his forehead and peers into the crowd, waiting for a response. And so I had opened it up saying that I want some interaction in this, and I told them about that and did it, and I said, so this is what I'm going to do if no one's responding. So that just like helped like lighten the mood. But what happened was, so that was my plan, but then something else happened to break the ice instead. About 2 minutes before I had to go on stage, I got a fucking nosebleed. Sorry for swearing. So I'm standing in the back of this room. I'm like this put together female, ready to go up. I'm in a male-dominated industry, ready to talk in front of these middle-aged, bald white men, trying to feel confident. I'm in the back, my nose bleeding. I couldn't believe it.
Do you want to say anything about the industry you work in, or keep it vague?
I can probably say it. I'm sure no one it's at I'm in the landscaping industry, landscape design and lawn care. It's super sexy.
I'm very passionate about lawn care.
Yeah, actually, you have a reel or I saw a reel once where you have a bit where you're talking about edging.
Yeah.
And I think that's really funny.
Thank you so much.
So, so I got, thankfully, the nose stopped bleeding right in time. And so I went on stage and I just said, listen, men in this room, I'm a real person. I just had a nosebleed. I think it's good, but I have tissues in my pocket, and that's where we're at. And the whole session went really great. But I just think that's funny. And sometimes all you can do is just own it. So I did.
That's awesome. So you just risked the blood bleeding out.
I had no other choice. What would you have done?
Sometimes you got to go on stage with a nosebleed.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sometimes you got to do it.
Just keep going. Yeah. So I do CrossFit.
You do?
And yeah, and I asterisk I know that's a douchey thing to say, but I do it.
I think that's okay.
Okay. I'm not like a super intense. I'm like, I show up a few times a week, get my workout in so I can walk when I'm 70. But earlier this fall, I did my first ever competition. It was a local comp, and I got runner-up, which I was really proud of. And then later that day, my husband and I were walking downtown, and it was there was like a German fest going on, and we came upon this big like wrestling ring set up. And I know you're a wrestling fan, but I'm not.
Okay.
But inside this wrestling ring, they were about to start a German spelling bee. So it's in like this busy part of downtown. There's breweries all around. There's a crowd forming. And I thought, I'm feeling good because I got runner-up in this CrossFit today. I think I want to go sign up for this German spelling bee. I don't speak any German. Despite growing up in like a Mennonite German community, I don't speak any German. So I signed up and I spent about 10 minutes with ChatGPT learning like phonetics and things of the German language. There were 13 people. I got runner-up.
You did?
The 2 runners-up in one day.
Look at that. You're like a perpetual runner-up.
Yes. I'm okay with that.
You're a very interesting person, and I think you know that.
I do think that, and I don't think enough people know that about me, like in my life. But I'm okay with that because I don't want to be obnoxious either. Like, I don't want to be someone walking around like, oh, guys, I'm so interesting. Ask me deep questions about myself so I can tell you. Like, I'm okay with just, something I've learned in the past couple of years is I want to seek contentment over happiness. I think that's more fulfilling and sustainable. And so I think that's part of it. I'm okay with just laying low.
I think that's great. And we've got less than a minute left. And I want to say, I think on that note, I hope that as you're moving into this new phase of life that you find that contentment and that in what I'm sure will be a very up and down stretch of things, because how could it not be, that it all ends as a net positive where you are more content, if not more outright happy. I really do hope.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Any closing words for the free feed before we get into the 5 questions?
I can't think of anything. Thanks for listening to me, everyone.
I think I speak on behalf of everybody when I say it was a pleasure. Many.
Thanks.
I mean, the whole thing could have been about lawn care, and it got barely a cursory mention.
I don't want to talk about lawn care for an hour.
That's fair. Okay, thank you so much to everybody who's been listening on the free feed. And we're now going to go ahead and get behind the paywall if you can hang out for 5 questions. Does that sound okay, caller?
Yep. Yes, I am a subscriber to this, so I know what happens, and I'm happy to be here for it.
Caller, thank you so much for your openness, for your honesty, for going in so many different directions. And I hope everything goes well and that you find yourself happy in this new phase of life. Thank you for calling. Thank you to Andrea Quinn for producing the show. Thank you to Shellshag for our theme music. punchup.live/Chris Gethard if you want to know more about me and live shows I have on the road. We got a Facebook group. We got an Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky. That's where we post about the calls going out. Send something in for the magazine. Have fun. Live life. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. I live in an area where there are just a relentless amount of leaves that fall. So I don't usually do this, but I hired people to get all those leaves. and they left them all in a giant mountain on the lawn itself, which is going to kill the lawn. And it's making me sad.
That's not right. That's part of what you hired them for, was to remove the leaves.
One would think.
Yeah, you need to call and clarify, like, what service you paid for or thought you were getting, because they should have, like, I'm mad for you. They should have taken care of that.
And this is coming from you, someone who works in the industry.
Would you like me to call them for you?
I can't have a stranger from the Midwest call a sweet man who did like a B- job on my lawn. If that ever happened, I will have so lost touch with any sense of being someone who was raised working class that I just can't do it. But thank you for the offer.
Okay.
Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.